All right, I think I am live. I'm here a little early, so I will give it a few moments. But for those of you that are catching the replay, make sure you post hashtag replay. Let me put my phone on silent because it's kind of going off right now. Oh, that's because it's exactly 11:11. So happy 11:11, everyone. It's 11:11 Central Time. And I'm here doing a bonus live stream. I've been doing a tarot series. And hey, Amy, what is going on? I'm here earlier than I usually am. Usually my live streams are on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. But I wanted to do a bonus stream because right now I am launching a tarot mentorship circle. It's a 4-month mentorship. So with that, I wanted to do a series to really help and connect with those that are either new to tarot, interested in learning, or you already have a practice with tarot and you're wanting to refine that a bit more. A lot of times I get asked questions about tarot, whether it's from someone that wants a reading or for someone that is a reader or that has their own practice. And so I figured doing this tarot series would be a great way to address questions that typically come up, and that also any questions that you might have while you're here joining me on live, for those of you that are, greetings, Buddha, then I can address some questions live. And then even if you're watching the replay, just post hashtag replay and then post your question, and then I can respond to that in the comments after the fact. But I do hope this provides value for you. For those of you that don't know who I am, if this is your first time coming across my Facebook or YouTube, because I am streaming simultaneously on both platforms. My name is Wadjet. I am an intuitive wellness and development coach, and I focus on aligning the mind, the body, and spirit through health, through wellness, through spiritual practice. I'm a professional tarot reader and an energy healer and personal trainer. And this is what I love to do. And I hope to inspire you if you are interested in tarot, and demystify some things, because tarot is not devil's work. And I used to think that I was raised to believe that, by the way. It's something that could be a great tool for you to use practically, and also to help develop your intuitive skills and develop your own connection to self. That has been my journey, and I want to inspire and encourage others and let people know, like, hey, if you are feeling that calling to connect with tarot or to dive deeper into a tarot practice or to start a tarot practice, that, these 5 tips that I'm going to share with you will hopefully lead you in the right direction. And at the end of this, be sure to stay tuned, because I am going to do a few live readings. For those that stay to the end, if you want a reading, I'll do some quick pulls. Just because, it's Virgo season, everybody, just so you know. Okay, it's Virgo season. I'm a Virgo, so I will be doing some readings today, and then also on Thursday. So be sure to subscribe and to follow the Facebook page. And up, Nerea, hey, how are you? Yes, Virgo here. Come on, Virgos, let's represent. So let me dive right into the content. I don't want to keep you here long. I know you all got things to do. Greetings, Kim. How are you? I know you all have things to do, and I don't want to keep you here long. So let's talk about the first tip. And if any of you are new to tarot or have a tarot practice, you can start posting your questions. So one of the first things when it comes to tarot and reading, so the first tip is, think about why you started in the first place, or why you're interested in starting. Because when it comes to confidence, a lot of people that I've come across that are wanting to improve or start tarot, they don't have the confidence to They feel like it's overwhelming. They feel like, well, tarot, or even with oracle cards, like it's intimidating, it's scary, or they don't understand the structure and it's just too much to try to like learn. And really think about, and I want you to connect spiritually and intuitively and think about what has been drawing you to want to work with tarot or oracle cards, because I use both. And I'll be talking about both and going through both in the mentorship circle, which the last day to join is the 29th of August. So if you're interested, definitely click the link in the description or head on over to my website. But when it comes to having confidence, there's this overwhelm of like, well, there's all this stuff I have to learn before I can even get started with using the cards, because I have to like it's you know, I have to study all the definitions, and you really don't have to do that right up front. And I talked about this a bit more in a previous video that I did last Thursday. But the first tip to build confidence with reading cards is always remember your why. Remember why you want to start, what's pulling you there to in the first place. Because there's going to be things that, just like with anything, that are going to be challenging, that you're going to find frustrating. The tarot cards and the oracle cards will read you for filth, okay? They will throw shade. They will talk shit. Do you hear me? So don't think it's all, you know, butterflies and rainbows and roses. You will get the truth is the truth is there. The truth will show up for you. And you know, when it comes to right, listen. So when it comes to that, think about why you are wanting to do that in the first place. Yeah, tell the truth you don't want to hear. Exactly. It will drag you. And I say it all the time. So always remember, why is it important to you? Why do you feel that calling? Do you know your why now? If you do, post that in the comments. And if you feel open to sharing. But that's really important. Always go back to that. So from my own experience, you know, I was feeling that pull for a while. But because of my fears and these misconceptions that I was raised to believe, fire alarm, or not fire alarm, I mean siren or a fire truck. But because of these fears and these misconceptions and these things that I was told was wrong, it kept me away from. It kept me in fear. It kept me blocked from connecting. But I was feeling this, I always had this interest and this curiosity about it to explore it more. And keep in mind that you can have a curiosity about it and not want to actually be a tarot reader. You can have a curiosity about it and just want to have just something's happening. So excuse the sirens, but yeah, something's going on out here. But you can have a curiosity, and maybe it's just learning about what it is, and that's enough for you. So don't feel threatened by the curiosity that might be coming up for you. So that's number 2. Don't be threatened by the curiosity of wanting to explore something new, if this is something new for you. Aja says, my why and the reason I got drawn to tarot is because of the symbolism. I hope to learn it through the cards so that I can notice the signs when I see them pop up in my everyday life. I love that. That's a beautiful why. So just being able to, and everybody's why is going to be different. And I think that's great, because one of the great things about tarot, which I was showing cards, and I'll show some cards later when I do some readings after this, is what shows up for you and what sticks out for you in the cards, that's going to be different for everybody. So whether you in the first video, Tarot for Intuitive Development, I talk about like how you can how you can use tarot to develop your intuition, if you're clairvoyant, if you're clairaudient, if you're clairsentient. So for Aja, having these symbols and the symbols that stick out, that's going to be what roots her into that practice. For me, it was less about the symbols and more about the overall imagery and how that allows me to expand my vision, because I am, even though I'm all of the clairs, I'm primarily clairvoyant, primarily clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. Clairvoyance is my top one, I would say. So how we express ourselves through tarot, how we are allowed to communicate spiritually, practically, intuitively, that shows up in your why. That can show up. So thank you for sharing that, Aja. Nerea posts, helping others find their way on their path, spiritual or not. See, I love that. So for you, Nerea, having that why, because not for everybody, tarot is not, which is another tip that I'll cover in a minute. Like, is your practice should start with you, but then that might expand into wanting to help others. But you don't have to pressure yourself. So this is, the first tip is, first, remember your why. Remember why you are drawn to it. What has led you there in the first place? The second tip is, don't be afraid to explore your curiosity, because whether you're wanting to start or whether you are already working with cards and it's taking you somewhere else, it's taking you into, whether it's how you read the cards, whether it's how you connect with spirit, whether it's how you use this practically in your life, don't be afraid to explore that curiosity and see where it leads you, because that's part of the journey. And tip number 3, which carries on to what Nerea brought up for her why, is don't pressure yourself. Don't pressure yourself to be anything other than you in the experience, and then you see where it leads. So don't feel like you have to be a professional tarot reader or you have to read for others or help others. It can be your own personal practice. And it should start with your own personal practice. And you might feel a calling in the same way that for me, it started with, this is something for me to learn more about myself. And then that progressed into this calling of helping others. I had to get dragged into it. That's another story. But this just enhanced what I was already doing, because I was already working as a coach and a mentor and a trainer for years. So this just enhanced the work that I was already doing, and I didn't really see that at the time. But that's something that progressed. So your why can progress as well. So New Kim posted, to find things out about myself. So again, that goes into, don't pressure yourself to feel like, oh, if I use tarot, or if I consider myself a tarot reader, then that means I have to like charge people for readings or do readings for others, or like have a YouTube channel. You don't, it doesn't have to be that way at all. It can be a personal, private practice that can extend out onto a social media platform or a professional platform, if you feel led to do that, if that is part of your why, if that is part of your calling. Lana posts, my why is to be able to help people, to be an open vessel, to be used to bring into the lives of people I'm surrounded by. I love that, Lana. Thank you for sharing that. And that's the thing, like, if you are feeling that call to connect, to be able to help people, then you should already know, like, part of the path to helping people is helping yourself. And you learn, it's an integral part of working with tarot. As you connect with your practice, that automatically starts to build confidence for how you can inspire and help others. So you see how that goes hand in hand. And when things get tough, or when you start to struggle, or you get blockages, because you will get blockages with cards. I've been reading cards for years, and sometimes I'll see these cards and I'm just like, what are you saying? What are you saying to me right now? Like, maybe I'm just not trying to hear what you're saying. So it's really, again, exploring what that is because it's through that you'll be able to hold space for others. So I talked about 3 tips, and I'll just reiterate those things. The first one is to remember your why. Remember why you are being drawn to it in the first place, because tarot is not going to be easy. Having a practice for yourself or even to work with others is not always an easy thing. There's always going to be challenges. Don't be afraid to explore your curiosity, and wherever that leads you. If that curiosity is just leading you to work with tarot or to working with certain decks, or even expanding your practice into combining certain things, or deepening your personal connection, whatever that is, don't be afraid to explore that, no matter where you're at with tarot. If you just want a reading, if you want to learn for yourself, or if you feel that calling to work with other people. The third tip is to don't feel pressured to have to, if you want to work with tarot, don't feel pressure to feel like you have to read for other people. It can be just for you. But if part of your why is to help others, then you don't have to start automatically helping others. You can start with your own practice, and then eventually, as you start to build that confidence within your own practice, then you can start to work with other people. And don't feel pressured to have to charge people or have to have a website. You can just do this with friends or whatever. If you plan on joining my tarot mentorship circle, which is Tarot Table Talk, then those are things we're going to be doing in that, breaking down readings, or if you're new, then you can practice and things like that. So something to think about. Let's see, Anise posts. I like to be able to decipher what is spirit and what are my own personal thoughts. I hear things, but I'm not always sure if it's just me or a message. So yeah, that's one of the great things that's one of the things I enjoy about using cards. So depending on what your strength is, or what your primary clair is, so to speak, or ability, as I like to say, when it comes to deciphering those thoughts or those messages, really it starts with when you have a personal thought, it will feel different than what you hear in relation to the messages you're receiving. Does that make sense? So in my first podcast, which is how to strengthen your intuition, my podcast is Fit Body, Fit Spirit, and I'll post the links or whatever. But I talk about how I identify intuition as this neutral, inner knowing. You can have feelings, but you won't have emotions or ego-based emotions attached to that message. Okay, good. You understand what I'm saying? Great. So I need to pay closer attention to that. Yes. So, and this is what, and so when I talk about, so I mentioned I'm an intuitive development coach, and the things that I focus on helping people is to refine how they communicate intuitively, how refining that spiritual communication, and you can use tarot for that. And that's one way you can use tarot. You can also use tarot very practically, right? You can use both, and I do it in both ways. Got it. Awesome. So I'll be sure to post the link in the comments for you for the link to that episode. I think that'll be very, very helpful for you. So the next tip is, when it comes to building confidence, is to not judge yourself. Don't judge where you're at on your journey. And this is something I can say, especially, I feel like if you feel that calling to help others through using tarot and oracle cards, I feel like this could be a blockage for you. This could be a barrier of feeling like, oh, well, I'm not doing enough. And it's like, if I'm not doing enough for me, then how can I be there for others? So that could be a blockage for you. Also, if you're a complete tarot newbie, you don't even have your first deck yet, and you're already judging yourself because it's just like, well, I don't know anything, and I'm never going to be good enough to know, and it's too overwhelming. It's like the journey is, you're just barely beginning your journey, and the journey starts with curiosity, by the way, which is the second tip, right? The journey starts with curiosity, and if you already have judgment with it, then you're already like closing yourself off. Yes, you're always judging yourself. And that's something that it comes in levels. It comes in levels. So you have to pay attention to when these things start to show up. And again, so Lana, like I was mentioning to Anise about deciphering the message between, okay, well, what's your personal thoughts, but what's the message that's coming up in the cards? Or even if you don't even own a deck yet, well, what's the message that's coming up when you are like, okay, this is something I'm curious about, I'm just exploring, and maybe your exploration is, maybe it's finding some of my videos, or maybe it's, watching readings online, or getting your very first reading. Maybe that's where you're at with your level of curiosity. But it's like, okay, well, nope, there's already judgment. So you're closing yourself off to the experience of what could be. And even years down the line, I've been reading for years, and I have to pay attention to like, well, how am I judging my journey? Because even on the other side, I've been reading for years, and now I'm at a point where I'm wanting to, where I feel comfortable enough to want to mentor others and help others build their confidence, help others get to a point where they can help them remove those blockages within their path. But I have to pay attention to the judgments that come up. So it doesn't matter whether you have never purchased a deck or whether you've been in this thing reading for yourself or professionally for years. Things will still show up for you. So pay attention to where it stems from, because you'll have your own judgment. And then, like I mentioned, you'll get read for filth. Some of y'all might get read for filth with these readings that I'm going to do in a few minutes after we get to the last tip. But it's one of those things where start to notice and acknowledge any judgments that come up. So don't judge yourself. This is tip number 4. Don't judge yourself, but also if you start to notice it coming up, then just start to be aware of it. Start to acknowledge it. Because when you start to acknowledge that there's judgment, then you can take that second tip of, okay, let's explore this. Let's be curious about why this judgment is coming up for this particular journey with tarot. And the question, and really it's like, when it comes to when you kind of feel that sense of like, well, how can I help? How can I be there? The best way you can help is by helping yourself. Because the thing is who is tarot for? If your why is wanting to help people, you do that through your own healing, your own exploration. Because here's the thing, and this is from my own personal experience, I would not be able to bring you to, for those of you, if you have been one of my clients, if I have ever mentored you, if you were one of my soldiers, if you were one of my students, whatever, wherever I was at in the spectrum of my life, I would not have ever been able to get you to the level you needed to be if I didn't cross a certain threshold of my own healing, of my own, of removing certain blockages and barriers. It would not have been possible. I can only lead you to where I've been. And that doesn't mean our path has to be identical. It just means the lessons or experiences that I have can help bring you into awareness for wherever you're at in your journey or in your experience. So just think about those things when the judgment comes up. It's like, okay, well, be aware of it and why it's coming up, but don't judge the judgment. Do not judge the judgment. Just be aware of it. It's okay, this is coming up and this is why. Explore it without judgment. It sounds like a contradiction. It's like, okay, don't judge yourself, but if judgment comes up, be curious about the judgment, explore the judgment without judgment. That's a lot of judgments, judgment words in there, but I hope that makes sense. I definitely had to take care of myself before I can help anyone else. Shout out to the help, Ujo. My pleasure. My blockage came from the times my messages weren't, my blockage came from the times my messages were something people wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. Learning to serve that tea anyways, if it was asked for, and no sugarcoating. Yes, and you know that's my approach. That is my style. Thank you for sharing that. And because when you become aware of your blockages and the things that show up with the judgment, and you start to be aware of it, then it's like, okay, now you can see how that's hindering your confidence with connecting, with using tarot in the first place, with deepening your work with tarot, or being at the point where you're ready to transition from working with tarot for yourself and being at the point where you want to transition into using tarot with others. So even if you're at that point, and a lot of people get stuck there, it's like, well, how do I transition to doing this work for myself and doing work with others? Then if you feel stuck there, then definitely consider joining the Tarot Mentorship Circle. I only work in small groups, so there's limited seating. The last day to join is the 29th of August. So if you're interested, it's a 4-month mentorship, and we dive into so many different aspects of those things. So if you're stuck in any of these areas that I'm talking about, then definitely click the link and see if it's right for you. Okay, yep. It's for you. Yes, exactly. It's for you first. Yep. Exactly. Because here's the thing. The reason why it's for you first is because you're the vessel. It works, the messages work through you. So in the same way where it stems from your, like, deciphering whether it's personal messages or, messages from spirit, or, or how to decipher how that shows up for you intuitively, and to decipher that, you have to clear out your own shit to be able to clear the pathway to receive the messages. Because that's the one thing, right? Receiving the messages for your own stuff, it's another ball game when you are wanting to receive messages and it's for someone else. Because there's things that you can receive within your own personal practice and how you communicate your spirit language or your intuitive language, and how that shows up, and how that can be, how you create that into, like, make that logical for you, versus how do I receive this knowledge and then articulate that in a way that the querent, the client, the friend, whoever you're reading for, how they can make sense of it, how they can grasp that, and how can I make sure that I can authentically communicate this message in a way intuitively and logically, because it's a combination of both. When it comes to tarot and oracle cards, it's both. At least for me, I look at it as both, and I think that it's a benefit. Tarot, there's much more logic in tarot compared to oracle cards. But you don't have to start with the logical aspect of tarot. You can start completely with the spiritual or the intuitive aspect of tarot. So then that brings me to my my fifth tip to build confidence with reading is to have a foundation of compassion for yourself, and if you're working with others, then for others as well. Really rest in the state of compassion, like sit there. And so what I mean by that is when you go into, I'm going to give you a couple scenarios, and then I will, after this tip, then I'll go into readings. If anybody's interested in a reading, then I'll pull some cards. I'll do spend a few minutes doing some live readings. So with having compassion, if you are a tarot newbie or you don't even have your first deck, how can you be in a state of compassion for this journey to build this confidence if you haven't even started yet? Think about when you are in a state of compassion, that is allowing you to be more receptive. It allows you to bring your guard down, but not be vulnerable in regard to like, oh, something can happen to me now. No, you can be in a state of receptivity, and that's logically, and that is intuitively. So that way you can really listen to what you need most in that moment. And that's a great way to prepare you to either pick your first deck or to explore what tarot is and do more research. It's like be in a place of compassion, because if this interest is here, then it's like this is something I am meant to receive. Let me be receptive to what that lesson is. And maybe it's discovering that tarot is not for you at all, but have the compassion to trust what that curiosity is guiding you towards. And it's different. And I want you to do this right now. I love doing like live exercises, live practical things. Right now, I want you to first embody the state of judgment. Feel judgment in your body. Think about how that feels. Like, feel that. What does that feel like? What does judgment feel like for you right now? What state are you in when you're in judgment? Do you feel like you can receive? Now, I want you to shift into grounding yourself in compassion. Fill yourself with compassion. I'm doing this too, by the way. And it feels different. As a matter of fact, when I was talking about judgment, I was like this. I just noticed it for myself. I'm like, shoulders all up, neck stiff. when I even think about like, oh, the energy of judgment versus the energy of compassion. Do you feel the difference? Go back and forth between the judgment and between the compassion. Do you feel more receptive and more open to receiving in the state of compassion or in the state of judgment? Let me know in the comments. If you're doing this with me live, let me know. And even if you're in the replay, post #replay and then let me know what difference comes up for you, right? I'm a newbie and I have my first deck. That is great. Yay. Congratulations on your deck. I am a tarot deck junkie. It's a problem. It's a great problem. And I'm going to talk about all things with decks and breaking those things down. So congratulations, Lana, on your deck. What's your first deck? I want to know what it is. I want to know. Let me know. Hey, Paula, how are you? Okay, so Anise felt irritated with judgment. You felt irritated. Hey, Halo. Okay, rigid to flowing. So when she was in a state of judgment, she felt very rigid. In compassion, flowing. Love that. Hey, Mano Ray. Judgment felt small, compassion felt tingled. I love that. I love that actually. Because compassion, right? If you feel small, how can you receive a message there? How can you even be open to whether it's a message for yourself or for someone else, or whether it's exploring? Going back to the second tip, which was being don't just be open to, don't be afraid to explore curiosity. If you feel small, think about what happens when you're in fear. It's like, I'm afraid, like, no. But in that compassion, that tingling feeling, it feels very expansive. I love that explanation. I love that. Thank you, Mano Ray. So Anish, she went from feeling irritated to in compassion feeling warm. It feels like home. I love that. These are great. You all are awesome. The judgment is such a forced feeling for me now. It doesn't feel familiar. Compassion is the only way I feel able to function. Yes, and that's what happens. Like when you and I feel like this is one of the most important tips. I mean, they're all important for me, but like the two to remember for sure is to be in a state of compassion so you can receive, so you can allow, no matter where you're at in your tarot journey. If you've never had a deck before, or if you've been reading for years, let that be the foundation. Because it's from that, you're more open to be more curious, to explore, and also to receive messages, to interpret those messages, to decipher those messages for yourself or for others. Yes, the compassion made me smile. I love that. Yes. So think about how, so this is about the state you need to be in to prepare yourself. Because when you're in that state, it naturally exudes more confidence. It exudes more confidence than what you would have even if you still don't have as much confidence as you want to have, right? You're more open to feeling that sense of confidence, because when you have compassion, you have confidence to receive and to allow. So you're not in a state of there's no defense mechanism of feeling. You can't. Where's the judgment in compassion? Where is it? Where is it? Judgment feels like I'm on defense. Yep, exactly. Judgment feels like you're on defense. And you don't want to be in a defense mode, because defense leads to being defensive, blocks your confidence. So if you're wanting to, it's counterproductive. If you want to be more confident with using tarot, deepening your practice, getting started, you can't be in defense. Because the thing is, we're all learning. We are the student and the teacher. We're all learning, and that's ongoing. So no matter where I'm at within my journey, I'm always a student. I'm always learning. I'm always learning as I go. And I always share that. I'm no better than any one of you. I'm a mess, really. But and I'm awesome. It's just as much as I'm a mess, I'm awesome at the same time. I acknowledge both aspects of myself. And I love it. And when you can be more open to that, it's just like, oh, okay, I can have compassion and also realize, like, oh, you know what? Yep, I'm a hot mess right there. That's a hot mess, but it's great. And I love myself for it. You're up to 15 decks. Nerea, I am over, I'm pretty sure I'm over 50 decks at this point. Over 50. Yeah. Yes, irritated in judgment. I felt dark with judgment and compassion. I felt warmth. I love that. And also pay attention to, so I was talking about earlier about like how those messages show up for you. Think about, like, pay attention to that description. If you're feeling, is the sensation of warm or tingling. So we had certain sensations in that way. If you feel it in a certain area of your body, or if you see certain images. Goals, yes. And don't worry, I'll be diving into all the decks. I'm going to do a tarot haul and show you all some of my decks while we're inside the circle. It's going to be fun. I'm looking so forward to that. I bought Rider-Waite deck. Okay, awesome. That's the best one to start with. And for those of you, if you are considering being a part of the mentorship circle, our primary style of deck will be Rider-Waite, but we'll be talking about the different types of deck. You can have any deck you want. You don't even have to have a deck to be a part of the mentorship circle. But a lot of the things I'll be teaching about and sharing will be based off the Rider-Waite system. We can talk about other systems of tarot, because that's a whole other topic. But just so you know, will be what we will be focusing on primarily, along with oracle cards. For those of you with decks, do you find yourself using them to answer all of your questions? I'm afraid cards will be my go-to for everything if I start using them instead of trusting myself. I've seen that happen. And I have, early on in my journey, like there's a difference with going back to the first tip of the why, of like, why you're using tarot in the first place. So ask yourself the question of, a lot of times it's like, am I pulling these cards out of fear? Because I'm like, oh, I need something to happen, and I need to know. Is it fear and anxiousness? Because then you're not rooted in compassion and understanding and awareness and connecting to that awareness, right? So you don't want using tarot to be there's a difference with having a tarot practice, but then using it to like make your every move. Because where's the confidence in that? From my perspective, when it comes to finding, you want to have a practice that you don't want to feel like the only way you can make a decision is through tarot. What I do is, and this is why I teach, and the things that I'll be talking about even in the mentorship circle, and even the stuff that I'm talking about now in these videos, is about knowing where you stem from when you're using the cards. And if it's coming from a place of just always in the egoic state of like, oh, well, I need to do this for this, that, and the other, then it's now it's becoming more of an unhealthy practice. It's becoming a dependency. You don't want to be dependent on tarot. It's just an addition to who you already are. It's a tool that you don't want to be dependent on, just like with anything else. And that's really important. And I say all the time, I don't need these cards. I'm a tarot junkie for sure. Like it's a whole thing. I'm a tarot collector, but I don't need the cards. And there was a point where I was just like, oh, I need these cards. I needed the cards to get to a certain point. And then the lesson was, you really don't need any of this because it's all within you. It just enhances your journey and your connection. And if you feel yourself in that state, then you have to look at the root cause of that, because usually it's something else. Compassion feels like vulnerability and open. Beautiful. Same, it's a superpower. Yes, superpower. I need new ones. Ujo, you should create your own deck. I actually am going to be creating my own deck. That is coming. Please know I will be creating my own decks and some other goodies. So stay tuned for that, because that is tarot and oracle decks that will be happening. I have 4 tarot decks and 6 oracle decks. Yes. Oh, I look so forward to geeking out with you all in the circle. OMG. We get to talk about just where's the info for the group. So you can find the info in the description of this post. You can also go to my website, let me pull it up here in the banner. Go to ujowadjet.com and click on Tarot Table Talk, and you will get the information there. The last thing to join is the 29th, which I believe is Saturday, by 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're interested, and I can also post the link in the comments for you after this, or if somebody has the link right now and can share it in there, that would be great. But I'll make sure I'll post it in the comments after. And so Nerea is answering. So I want to do a recap. And then I want to open up space for live readings. So I just want to recap before I get back to the comments, I want to recap what those the five tips were. So the first one is to remember your why. Remember why you wanted to read tarot or start tarot, or what's drawing you to tarot if you don't have a practice with it yet. What is your why? What's taking you there? What is that? Why is that important? If you don't know your why yet, you might be at a point where it's just like, well, I feel this calling or I feel this interest, but I don't know. That's fine. Then just start to be curious about that. Which goes to tip number 2 of don't be afraid to explore that curiosity. Don't be afraid to explore it. And that's going to show up whether you've never had a deck or even 5, 6, 7 years down the road of using it. Don't be explored. So there's still aspects of tarot and working with decks that I'm exploring, and even just within my own practice of how I connect is continuously evolving. Because if you have a fear, then it blocks you from having that state of that like Manon Ray was saying, that tingling. When I love that explanation of when he was resting in compassion, like, you know, to expand and really enrich that experience. And I keep mentioning whether you've never had a deck and you just, you know, maybe you just like having readings versus this is something you want to connect more and have a professional practice wherever you're at, or you just want to use it for yourself. It doesn't matter. The third one is to don't judge your journey. Don't judge where you're at in your journey. And if you note it, and if judgment starts to come up, then start to be curious about why that judgment is coming up. And we did a little exercise here of what it feels like to be in judgment. So you'll start to know. So start to tune in and then see, like, okay, well, why is this coming up? Start to question that judgment. The fourth one is don't feel pressured to have to read for other people or to have to be a professional tarot reader, because you don't have to be at all. This can be just for you, only for you, and nobody ever has to know. And I mentioned in one of my podcast episodes that I was a closeted tarot reader. I was a closeted tarot reader for a while. So I've come a long way, folks. I've come a long way. So I mentioned that, I think in episode 15 of my podcast, which if you're not familiar with my podcast, it's Fit Body, Fit Spirit. And you can find that on all podcast platforms. And I'll post that link as well. So, and the final tip is to rest in compassion, to be in a state of compassion and let that be your foundation. Because with that, now you're in a state to receive. Now you're in a state that can allow you to explore without fear, or to explore while to work through fear, to be in an expansive state. And the other part of that exercise was to pay attention to how you feel when you're in compassion versus when you're in judgment. And you all mentioned there's a difference, right? So when you are navigating this journey with tarot, whether you've never had a deck before and you just want your first reading, or whether you're wanting to transition from using tarot for yourself and you want to transition into starting to work with people and read for other people, or wanting to explore different, use a different deck, and you're wanting to start something with a different deck, and you know only have one deck, and you're ready to buy a new deck and start something new. Wherever you're at, be in that state, because you can receive so much more. You're the vessel that allows this communication to flow. So I would love to know which one of those 5 tips did you have a favorite out of those 5 tips, or did you love them all? Let me know in the comments. And I'm going to catch up on some of these things that you posted. Hey, Michael, what's going on? So let me know if you have any questions. And now it's time to do. I'm going to spend a few minutes doing some live reading. So if you have a question, post your question in the comments, and then I will pull a card for you. You know, I'll be adding your decks to the collection. Oh yes, you will definitely know. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, Angela, I'm new here from South Africa. May I have a reading, please? And thank you. Awesome. Okay. You can, Angela. Do you have a specific question or topic? Let me know. I'll be spending the next 15 minutes doing some readings. Do you have a specific question, or I'll just pull? I'll be doing one or 2 card pulls. I pulled Princess of Wands today from the Chakra Wisdom Tarot. Awesome. And it's synchronized with the message of no judgment. Beautiful. I love a good synchronicity. I love it. Right. Okay. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to question every move. Exactly. Because then that'll be a dependency, right? And this is just, tarot is it's just an added thing, a tool that you can use to enhance things, but you don't even need that. It's at all. Yes, because I need that. The Sassy Oracle by Ujo. I love it. Yes, the decks are coming. I'm gonna have to come back to the replay after work. Hey, Dawn. Well, thank you in advance for catching the replay, and be sure to share this video if you think it'll be beneficial for other people that have a curiosity about tarot, or that you think would be interested in joining the tarot table talk mentorship circle. And the doors close on the 29th of August, and it's going to be a small group. I want to work with small groups, so seats are limited. So if you are interested, then definitely click the link in the description or go to my website, which is ujowadjet.com, and click on Tarot Table Talk. And it'll give a breakdown along with the pricing. And then once you submit your email, you'll get more details about what to expect. And make sure you check your spam or promotions folder, because sometimes the people don't get my emails, but depending on how your email is set up, it goes to spam or promotions. So be sure that you check in those folders. You can also, if you want to send me a message on Facebook Messenger, if you're interested, then you can do that as well. Okay. So we got some questions coming in. Hey, Michael, what is up? You like the 5 tips? Awesome. New Kim loved all the tips. Thank you. They were all helpful. Thank you. Awesome. You know, these tips came from my personal experience through when I was really thinking about, like, what is it that, if there was something that I wish that I knew before I started, if there were tips that I wish that I had before I started, what would that be? And that's how these tips were born, through that. So thank you for that. Okay. So now we're going into questions. Let me scroll up. me see. They were helpful. Let me scroll. Okay. Mano Ray, will this new venture I want to start be successful? Well, the first thing, so for the deck that I'm using a Rider-Waite. This is the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. And this is the main deck that I use to read for people. All right. Let's see, Mano Ray. I'm already hearing a yes. Oh, we got a jumper. I'm already hearing a yes, but it's about the effort that you put into it. The effort with the venture, also, and also the energy that you're putting in. So it's interesting that the sun jumped out of the deck here. What you put into it is what you get out of it. But also another thing is the systems and the structure of your time and the venture within itself and managing that. So I don't know if there's something about people coming up, people that are linked. I don't know if this is a group venture, or if you have a partner, or whatever whatever that process is that involves other people. And let me know in the comments, is this venture, is this a group thing or a partnership thing, or will you be like interacting with the group? There's something with that process and making sure that is that's streamlined, that the communication is clear there, and that everybody's on that same, that the process flows well, and really getting clear with the structure. So that's the Sun card. Oh, Think Less has put, will my person commit? Will my person commit? Is this a relationship? What I'm hearing for you, Think Less, is actually a no. I'm hearing a no of will your person commit? Because the question is, commit to what? And I have a Hermit card for you, Think Less. And let me see. Let me just look in the comments. You asked. You already asked if your person will commit. What you need to get clear on, Think Less, is what is it that you want them to commit to? Because I'm getting a clear no, and then we have the Hermit card. So with the Hermit card, this is about introspection, solitude. And I feel like you should really look into what is it that the main question that keeps coming up is, what is it that you want your person to commit to? And do you have that level of commitment for yourself, within yourself? Because it feels like there's a disconnect there. So back to Mano Ray. Yes, I will have a partner, and we're going to talk about it Friday. Okay, good. This is a great season, because y'all know it's Virgo season for those of y'all that are tuning in. So I'll be doing live readings on after Thursday, 7 p.m. I'll be doing, I think it's 7 p.m. I might change the time, but I will be doing a live stream on Thursday. But I'll be doing another informative lecture, and then I'll be doing live readings. So be sure to stay tuned. Join my email list on wadjet.com if you're not a part of that already, or just follow my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube page, click the notification bell, or if you're joining us on Facebook, on my Facebook business page, Wadjet, make sure you hit the like button and the follow, and to follow all the notifications so you can get all the tea. So let's go into another reading. There was another one. Did she come back? Angela, are you still in here? Let me know. I wanted you to clarify your question. You said that you wanted a reading, so I just want to know what your question is, Angela. Okay, Nerea, general directional reading if you can. Sometimes I need to check myself. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, tarot readers need tarot readers. I get readings all the time. Not all the time. I get reading. I would say, like, I don't get readings all the time. I get readings. So I invest in the same field of work that I am in. So I'll be booking a reading. Oh, we got a jumper. Booking a reading for my birthday coming up. So for you, Nerea, we have the Page of Cups. So what I feel like is coming up with the Page of Cups, this is about emotions, but I feel like this is about a new shift in, I feel like I almost feel like there's a starting point, but the starting point is on a path that you're already on, but now it's just shifting how, like, the direction that you take within it, like your feelings towards it. You're shifting the energy of the path that you're already on. So sometimes it's like the path is the same, but now your mood about it is different. How you feel about it is different. Does that make sense? It's like, well, it's like I can say, you're walking this mile. You got to walk the mile. You can be upset about walking the mile, or you can shift halfway into walking this mile. You start to shift your mindset and your perspective and your energy around, well, you know what? This isn't something I'm going to feel resentment around. I'm actually going to shift this into shifting my feelings a bit more about what this experience could be, and not just stay in one aspect of the experience of, well, I can just be dissatisfied and not be happy, or I can find a new way to feel and believe and really seek that out. Let me know if that makes sense for you, Nerea. I feel like it's about recalibrating your emotions so you can see clearer. And by seeing clearer, that will give you the clarity that you need to make the decision, or to confirm the decision that you already know what you need to do. You just need that confirmation. So I feel like that's going to help you there. Okay, a reading. So you don't have so you just want a general. All right. Ooh, we got a jumper. The World card. This is such a great card. I feel like this, for you, Lana, what this represents is a new chapter, but and also like it almost feels like not a promotion, but an elevation. It's like you've kind of already been in the same pot, but now you're elevating the flavors of what's in this. I'm seeing a pot. Like the ingredients are all there, but now we're kind of, now what this World card is representing, like now we're making the meal. Does that make sense? Like, so that's the elevation. It's like, because I feel like sometimes when it's like a promotion, it's like, oh, we're, starting over. In a way, it's not really starting over. It's just amplifying and enriching what's already within you. And I feel like a lot of this has to do with your sense of purpose and how you're meant to show up in the world. And really honing into that sense of, like, with this World card, it's like about feeling the sense of wholeness. That's kind of what's coming up. Feeling a sense of wholeness and feeling full, feeling like you are nourishing this aspect of yourself. Okay, let's see. My question for the reading is, what's next? So with what's next? Oh, that's a big question. Let's narrow that down, Aja, to what's next with just with life. What's next? What's next tomorrow? What's next? What's next? Oh, we got a jumper. Ooh, we got the magician for you, Aja. What's next is whatever you want to be next. What is it that you want to experience? Because you can create that experience as the magician, as the one that has all of the elements to create. It's just about remembering that you have that, and you can decide what you want to experience. And through that decision, you can start to create the path to get to that point. Yes, in life. Okay, yep. That's right where you're at. Let me go back to Angela. Okay, Angela is here. Guidance on finances. Okay. So what's coming up, Angela, is belief in yourself. We have the 7 of Wands here for you, Angela. So just pay attention to this, right? So do you see this, like, this person is in defense mode. But the phrases that's coming up, Angela, is believe in yourself. Belief in yourself. So really looking at what is it that you currently believe about what is it that you currently believe about your financial experience? When you're constantly like, this almost feels like, it's like, okay, I'm constantly trying to, like, stay on top of things, make sure ends meet, make sure, I'm just trying to stay afloat. And in the same way, and earlier in this video, I was mentioning shifting from judgment to compassion. I want you to rest in a state of compassion. Allow yourself to be in a state of compassion, and then ask yourself the question of, what is it that I believe about my current situation with finances? What do you believe about abundance and wealth? Are you in a point of survival mode? And the only, you correlate, and this could be unconscious as well, that you correlate your finances with just having just a need for security, or is it something, or is there something more? So part of it is shifting your state of belief, having awareness about what you believe right now. The other aspect is, what is it that I need to believe in order for me to align with the state of abundance that allows me to be in flow with financial security, abundance, whatever your word is. So you gotta assess, like, which word feels better for you. Is it which one feels more expansive, financial security or abundance or wealth? Everybody's word is going to be different for your state of being financially. So if stability is the word that comes up for you, then does stability feel constricting? Does it feel like, oh, I have to be stable and I have to be in this state? Does that feel restricting? Versus when you say security, financial security, there's a slight variation, but there's a different energy and a different feeling and belief about stability versus financial security, or wealth versus abundance. Let me know if that makes sense for you. Abundance. Okay, good. So yeah, so be in alignment with abundance and look at what barriers are in the way of you aligning energetically with abundance. Because it's through that energetic alignment, then you can start to tap into the mindset shifts that you need to make in order to start to clear up any financial barriers. So it always starts from my approach, and I'm a wellness coach, so I coach my clients on all the major aspects of life: relationships, spirituality, health, fitness, career, and finances. And it's one of those, and that's a barrier I have within that I had to work through myself when it comes to really finding the language, that expansive language versus constricting language. And it's through the feeling, then you can shift the mindset. And then through the mindset shift, you can shift the habits that keep you in the state that keep you in a state of lack, or keep you in a state of feeling constricted and feeling like you're constantly in this state. I hope that was helpful. Let's see, I got time for a few more. Oh, I want to do tarot for autism as a nonprofit for autistic people. Oh, I love that, Mano Ray. As why to get my practice of, oh, I love that. So you want to get tarot in. I work with autistic people, and I'm actually working on time management skills right now. Perfect. The reading resonated. Funny is the way I practice my reading comes from Jupiter cards as I shuffle. I love that. That is amazing. Loving what you're doing, and look forward to hearing more about that. So let's see. We got time for a couple more. Let me see here. Hi, Pranchi. Can I get to if Swapnesh is really serious to move ahead for marriage with me soon, or is he only making fun? Oh, and doing time pass. Should I search for other proposals as well? Okay. So what I pick up from this, Pranchi, is so you're in a relationship, and you want to know if, ooh, okay. And you want to know if, we got a whole stack that came out for you. You want to know if this person is ready for marriage, or if he's just basically full of shit. And if he's like about that, on that bullshit. Well, long story short, he is about that bullshit. And really, you need to shift your expectations. I almost feel like there's a lot of expectation being placed about what you really want to experience, and trying to put somebody in that box for you. That's kind of what it feels like. Okay, and a whole stack literally flipped out the deck for you. So we're going to run through it. So we got the Temperance card, right? What you're wanting to experience here. But what's coming on? So subconsciously, I feel like you already know that it's time to actually shift gears. It's time to move on. It's time to transition the expectations of this relationship. I feel like there's a part of you that already knows, and I feel like that's showing up because the Moon card is about the subconscious self, and I feel like you're wanting to find balance with what you're feeling versus your emotions and your mind is what's coming up for me here. But when it comes to the Chariot card, this is about transition. This is about travel. This is about change. That's how it's showing up for me with these cards here. And I feel like this is something your emotions are already telling you the truth. Now it's just about getting your mind in alignment with what the truth of your feelings are. Okay. And see, here we have the Seven of Cups. So I was mentioning transitioning out of what is it that your mind is saying, what you want to believe, Because this is all about like, oh, I want to be in this certain state, but it's different from what you're truly feeling. So you see how these two cards are, the emotions and then the delusion is right in between the transition. So you need to shift. You need to shift out of the kind of thought of what could be. Back to what I was saying, is kind of confirming what I was saying about shifting your expectations, because I feel like there's too much placed. And through that process, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and then we have the Three of Pentacles. So through shifting that, now you can really start to look at what is it that you truly, not only what is it that, how you want to spend your energy when it comes to your relationships. Not just relationships with the person that you're with, but just even in general of like what expectations you place. What is the message that's coming in is, what is the driving force behind you wanting to be with this person or with someone else? What is it that you need in a relationship? What is your expectation? And do you allow yourself to listen enough to hear and to receive what the other person needs? Because sometimes they're going to tell you, like, I'm not really looking for that right now. But you might only be still in this state of the seven of cups. You might still be in the state of, man, well, this is what I want for me, but what do you like? Are you clear about what they want? Do you have a clear understanding of like, maybe they're not ready to be as serious right now. And maybe you're ready to go all the way in. They're just not there yet. So really having the conversation about like, do I want to spend my time with someone that might not be fully there yet? Is there potential there? That's something you need to have a conversation about with that person. Yeah, okay, you want to be with this person. So you need to have a conversation about, well, what are their intentions? Are they ready to commit in the same way that you are? I don't feel that they are. They might get to that point later on down the line, but I don't think you're even wanting to wait for that. And you shouldn't. Don't wait for something if you don't have to do that. So just something to keep in mind. So if you want to be with this person, you need to have this conversation to get clear on what they want and what they need. Yes, true. Yeah, that's really important, because if you get so caught up about, okay, I want this, just because something's going great in a relationship doesn't mean that you all want the same things. When it comes to long term, you might not be there yet. I mean, he might not be there yet. All right, so I'm going to do two more. Let me scroll here. Hey, Nosi, how are you? Oh, yeah, we're at the end. I'm going to do two more readings, and then I'm done here. I actually was sharing some tips on building confidence with tarot. I shared 5 tips. And yeah, so you have to catch the replay. Let me see. Okay. Oh, you're working on learning to manifest. That's great. So I'm looking for some other questions here. Okay, Kim. I'm going to do one more after Kim. And look at me. I said earlier, I was like, I'm not going to keep y'all here too long. I know y'all got things to do. Hashtag over an hour later. Oh my gosh. Well, at least I got the good stuff out in enough time, right? What is time anyway, really? So we'll wrap these things up in a minute. So Kim Aura, will I get out of this negative, emotional loop that I am in? Oh, we got 2 cards that jumped out for you, Kim. So we have the King of Cups, and we also have the Star card. So for those of you that are, if you're new to tarot or learning, so we have, this is one of the major arcana cards, and this is one of the suit cards. This is also a court card. And we'll be talking about that more in the tarot circle and what all that means, along with all the good stuff. So for you, Kim, I'm hearing a very clear no, not yet. Not yet. Saying no, not yet. So there's there's an opportunity there when you are willing to face all the different what I'm seeing right now. And so for those of you, like I mentioned, I'm clairvoyant, right? So when I'm doing readings, I'm giving you a little behind the scenes of my process. I'll be diving into this more in the tarot mentorship circle, and how you can do this for yourself, just for those that are watching, right? But what I'm seeing, so I'm seeing images right now. I'm seeing almost like a bundle of wires, like of cords and wires. So what I'm seeing, Kim, for you is the loop, and even look at the position. I like to look at the position of the cards. The King of Cups is facing the Star card. So what I see is with the no, not yet, is the not yet is you haven't fully faced all that is happening within the negative emotional loop. And really the question is, like, what is negative versus what is negative necessarily? Is it all negative? Or are there aspects of truth in there that have not been addressed and that feels negative? I feel like there's a lot to unpack within these bundle of like wires that I'm seeing. So with that, as you start to unpack that, then it's not going to be like okay, I'm out of the loop. There's a lot of things, like there's a lot of stuff, like a lot of different chords here that need to be addressed. And that process is going to take it's going to take work. It's going to take addressing things that maybe you don't want to deal with. It's going to take, this might be acknowledging that there are experiences that were very traumatic in this lifetime and in past lifetimes, that I feel like actually in some past lifetimes, it's kind of show some of your past life stuff is actually showing up in this lifetime that was triggered. It was triggered in, it triggered the memories. And I see this, so I do energy work as well. So I see this when as a clairvoyant, I'm seeing it as chords, okay? And they're rooted into past life things. And so I see this all the time energetically when I'm doing energy work. And this can show up in a tarot reading, right? So it's almost like, let's look at these stars actually. So this is how the imagery works for me, how I see the connection. These little stars are almost like the little sparks or the triggers that have happened in this lifetime that are actually connected to a past life. And they just become more amplified. So it could be one little thing. It might seem small in this lifetime. And you're just like, how did I get why is it affecting me so much? It's because it's linked to another lifetime, my friend. It's linked to a deeply rooted aspect of your consciousness, or should I say your subconsciousness. That's why it's so intense. But is it negative necessarily? It's not all negative. I think there needs to be a mindset shift around what negative is versus what's unfamiliar or what's painful or what's unexpressed truth. So I almost feel like releasing it all being negative, sometimes the result of the experience can feel very negative, right? It's like I am in this loop and it is creating negative experiences, but the loop itself is not necessarily negative. but it's triggering these experiences that can feel like something you don't want to experience. I hope that makes sense. Okay, like doing some shadow work. Yes, lots of shadow work. Definitely some shadow work. And I'm a shadow worker. This is a lot of the things that I do with like, I've actually done, I'm not sure if I've done a video yet on shadow work and my approach with shadow work. If I have not, then that's definitely coming, because it's a main aspect of what I do. But yeah, definitely exploring, really shifting, like take a step back from the loop and observe it from a different place. Right now you're in the loop. I want you to observe it from being outside of the loop. Look at yourself in the loop from a different perspective. And then I think and then let me know. And you can let me know in the comments of YouTube, or if you want to send me a message, let me know how that shows up for you. If you see the difference of like, okay, is it all negative, or is it just because of these things that are being triggered, it's creating these experiences, and some of them are negative, and you want to shift that. All right. Okay, great. Awesome. So I'm going to do one more reading, and then we're going to wrap things up. I'm going to do one more reading. Let me scroll. You can listen to me all day long. Thank you, Nosi. I love how you can do multiple readings and then even go back to previous ones, and it doesn't cross streams. I do 2 in a row and I'm exhausted. Can't wait to sign up and learn more. Thanks for all this info. Oh yeah, listen, there was a point where it wasn't always like this for me. And there was times where like I had to learn it. And that's where the refining and kind of exercising that ability to do that. So it took me a while to get to that point. I remember first doing, I started doing vending events, and I was doing readings in person back to back to back. And I would be so drained. I had to do a salt bath and like sage, and I need a crystal. I need some water. I need a shot of vodka, something to get clear, like what's going on. So yeah, it's definitely a process, but you can get there for sure. And I look forward to you signing up, because yeah, last day is the 29th. So if you want to be a part of the circle, definitely do that. Especially, and I'm excited about the work that you're going to be doing, Mano Ray. I 100% support it. Okay. So we'll do one more question. He has taken a lot of my time. Yeah, he's taken a lot of your time because he's full of shit, Prachi. He's full of shit. That's why. In a nutshell. In a nutshell. But you don't have, listen, you can create the boundaries to where he's not taking your time. He does not have to take your time. If you're giving him the time to take, he will take it. So yeah, stop giving him the time to take. Awesome. Okay. One more. Can I schedule a more in-depth reading with you? You can. You can go to my website. So I also do, I am still doing one-on-one. I do private readings still. So you can go to my website, wadjet.com, click on work with me. And in the drop down, you'll see some options. And if you're interested in a tarot reading or energy work, then you just click on that tab. And then and then I'll receive an email, and then I'll email you. Or I also offer consultations. I do a free short consultations if you're not sure what you need. So those can be coordinated as well through that same link, wadjet.com, and click on work with me. And then for those of you that are interested in the Tarot Mentorship Circle, which is Tarot Table Talk, go to the same website, click on Tarot Table Talk, and you'll get the info there. And then once you sign up, you'll get more details, and then you reply to that email. Check your spam, check your promotions folder, and then you can go from there. I can leave this up actually. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, so this is the last reading here from Michael. Do I need a mentor? Oh, child. We got a whole stack. The cards are popping today, y'all. Okay. So first we have the Nine of Wands. And really the first thing you should know is I feel like there is a almost like a mentor will, this feels like a defense mechanism right here with this card that's showing up, is like, well, like, man, like I almost feel like there's like who can I trust? Who can I trust to take me to that next point? Or, should I trust myself, or like kind of where should I go? I kind of feel like that's what's coming up here for you, Michael. So the first thing is really there's different types of mentors. A mentor is always valuable when you're ready to receive what that mentor has to offer. Are you ready to be the student? Are you ready to be the mentee? Are you ready to be coached? So that's the first aspect, because you can be a person that's like, yeah, you can have all the respect for somebody, but if you're not ready to hear, and be guided in a certain way, and it's not about like people telling you what to do. Some of it will be, it's like, oh, okay, these are my suggestions, in the same way I suggest things all the time. These are my suggestions. This is the pathway to get here or to get there, or to get very specific. So get clear on, so you mentioned here that you're all over the place. So you're all over the place when it comes to what? When it comes to your life, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to like finding out your, who you are as a person, when it comes to the direction that you want to take. These are the other cards that came up for you, Michael. So we have the Strength card. Oh, and this card came up earlier, didn't it? The Seven of Wands. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So here, with these, you have, again, I feel like there was that, I was mentioning kind of a back and forth of like, well, do you feel ready to receive, or do you are you ready for that? Because it feels like there's a bit of a defense or a fear, or like do I have to have one, or do I, it's almost like, okay, well, the energy feels like, and you let me know if this, if I am interpreting this correctly, because it could be different, but it almost feels like, well, do I have to? I can't figure this out myself. You can figure it out yourself, but you got to get clear on what is it that you're wanting to figure out. You're drawn to witchcraft. Okay, that's great. So if you're drawn to witchcraft, so even if being drawn to witchcraft, then really this, I feel like part of it is you can be drawn to it. Identify, and you can actually use a lot of these tips that I've covered. I don't know if you were here from the beginning. A lot of the tips that I covered about building confidence with tarot, you can use that when it comes to your, that second tip that I talked about, being curious. Don't fear the curiosity. You can explore that. So where are you within that step? You can be drawn to curiosity and not be a witch. You can be drawn to curiosity. You can be curious about witchcraft. I was saying that backwards. You can be curious and drawn to witchcraft, but not actually be a witch. So there's a difference, right? Maybe you're drawn to magic and you don't identify as a witch, but your path to get there is learning about witchcraft so you can know the difference. And it's one of those things, well, do you currently, what are your barriers to feeling drawn to this path of witchcraft or learning? Because sometimes it's just about learning. You can learn things about witchcraft or about tarot or whatever, and maybe it just gives you some information of what you need, but you don't necessarily have to identify with it. I feel like there's kind of a conflict of what you're drawn to versus the identity of like how you identify yourself. And it's like through the process of exploring, that's how you uncover it. And if you feel fear and you feel unsure about like how to get there or getting clear direction, and you want a bit more structure around that, then I would recommend a mentor. And even just based off of these cards, right? If this is the state that you're in, so let's go back to this card, right? Do you see, like there's like a wall up here. It's just like, man, I've been, I don't know, like this, because this card came up first. The way the cards fell, it was like this card and then these three cards. And it's almost like, well, I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know what to do. And I don't know like who to trust and where to go. So that fifth tip that I suggested with, that I shared when it comes to building confidence with tarot, you can use that fifth tip of being in a state of compassion first, get centered there, and then see where this defense mechanism goes. Like for my ancestors, I don't want to distribute them. So with the state that you're currently in, the 9 of Wands, you have 7 of Wands. This is all about defense in this wall. Being more open to, right now, let's look at the direction of the cards. So this is one way that I read the cards, is how they're facing. The 7 of Wands is facing the Strength card. So how I view this is, and let's look at this card. How I view this is as a conflict of like, well, in order for me to be in a certain state, I need to, like, this is how I'm showing my strength currently. This is how I'm showing like, exactly, disturb, if you don't want to disturb them. See, and here's the thing, it's like, this is the state, I have to be this way in order to be strong and to be present and to do this thing. This needs to go away. How your concept of like how you're currently showing up needs to shift. And we need to turn our attention towards the Wheel of Fortune, towards to opening up a new chapter, exploring this journey, exploring this curiosity in a different way. So you're saying, so you don't want to disturb your ancestors. You are your ancestors. Your ancestors are your first path, your first step to connecting when it comes to navigating that path of witchcraft, of magic, wherever you're at within that. That's my recommendation, right? My recommendation is you want to start with connecting and knowing your ancestors. That's where it starts. And then from there, they can guide you, because a lot of times they're the ones that's helped nudging you on that path of like, well, man, we're drawing you here for a reason. What is this leading me to? So when it comes to your question of if you need a mentor, I would rephrase that with, are you ready to work with a mentor? Because there's always a need. There's always a way, some aspect of our life where it's like, man, if I had a mentor in this aspect of my life, I would be like, this would be great. Like, this would really catapult, because it's all about, it just expedites your results and your experience and your journey. And I say this with clients all the time, or people that are interested in working with me in my coaching programs or in my mentoring, even with the tarot table talk, in this mentorship circle. This is to enhance and to speed up, to get you to where you want to be faster. So the question is, are you ready for one? My parents are from Haiti. Voodoo shit, kind of scary. Okay. I personally don't think that voodoo is scary. So even then it's like, okay, you know how I was saying earlier about like there's some fear, there's some like apprehension. Do you feel it's scary? Are you scared of it? Do you see what I'm saying? If you are, then that's something where if you fear a path that you're curious about, now we have to look at going back to the third tip, which I talked about, judgment. Is there a fear of disturbing your ancestors because there's a fear of your culture, or a fear of what voodoo how voodoo has been misrepresented in a lot of ways? So really shifting the mindset there. And I really think that for you, Michael, that a mentor, when you're ready for a mentor, that's when this, I'm looking at these cards backwards, that is when this interference right now, because this is interference. Let me show you here. Right now, okay, wait. Let me get these cards together, because it's like showing up backwards on the screen, right? So right now you're here. This is how the cards came up. Oh, wait, no, it was backwards. This was facing, see, it's showing up backwards. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is where we were at. I'm trying to get it together, y'all. Okay, we have these cards here. And right now this card is facing the strength card. And we need to shift this and get this interference out of the way of fear and feeling like you're trying to, whatever you feel like you're trying to defend and try to hold on to. This needs to be released, removed, to bring these two together. Because once you rid yourself of the fear, the misunderstanding, the apprehensions, the judgment, look at where strength is facing now. The Wheel of Fortune, the opening up into that path and connecting. And I do believe that when you're ready for a mentor, that's when you should look for one. Hell yeah, I don't know anything about it. So yeah, so that's something that you should look into when you're ready. It's all about you being ready. Because if you're still in this state, you can do some research on your own. You can expedite the process with working with a mentor sooner than later. But it's really about what you're ready to start doing, what you're ready for. So, Michael, do you feel that you're ready? Let me know if you feel like you're ready. Or if you're unsure, it's okay to be unsure as well. All right, so that was the last reading for today. Thank you for everybody that has tuned in. If you're watching the replay, make sure you post #replay, and I'm thanking you in advance for taking the time to connect. For those of you that have stayed on for this whole time, for it's going on like an hour and 45 minutes, I think. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I hope that what I have shared today has brought you value. And if you're interested, so I am going to be doing another live stream on Thursday. The time might change. I have to look at my schedule. I think something shifted in my time. I was initially doing 7 p.m. every Thursday. So I have to confirm that. But I will be doing another live stream and live readings on Thursday with my tarot series. And if you're interested in becoming a part of the Tarot Table Talk Mentorship Circle that I am launching, my first ever mentorship program specifically geared towards tarot. And of course, it's not going to only be about tarot. We're going to dive into different aspects of, tarot practice, oracle cards, and then how this applies in your life as well. So there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be happening in there. It's a 4-month, the mentorship is for 4 months. So if you are interested, definitely head on over to my website, wadjet.com, and click on Tarot Table Talk and sign up. The last day to join is the 29th of August, which is Saturday. And the cart closes at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So I just want you to be mindful of that. I only work in small groups, at least right now. For at least this first time around, I want to work with a small group. So seats are limited. So if you're interested, then I definitely recommend taking advantage of this, because I don't know if I'm going to offer this again. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm going to see how it goes and see how I feel about it. But I'm really excited about doing this because so many people have asked me questions. And I feel like this is a great way to dive deeper and to help you along your journey wherever you're at, whether you've never had a tarot deck before or you've been reading professionally for years. It's a great way for us to commune and to connect and to learn and grow. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I do offer coaching, tarot readings, energy healings, and consultations. So you can also head over to the website, wadjet.com, and click on Work With Me. And you can just click in the drop down and you will be able to select whichever one feels best for you and then go from there. And check out my podcast, Fit Body, Fit Spirit. I'm on all podcast platforms. And I'll also post a link in the description after this video. And I talk a lot about mind-body alignment, mysticism, intuitive development. So I do a lot of that there. And you'll be able to see that on my website as well as on all podcast platforms. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for tuning in. You all are awesome. Thank you, Anise, for being here. Thank you, Michael. Okay, you'll get back with me privately. And if you have any questions, you can find me on Facebook on my business page, Wadjet, at Wadjet. And if you want to send a message on Facebook, if you have questions about the mentorship circle, you can also send that through my Facebook business page as well and send me a message through there. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy Virgo season, because that's where we're in right now. Use this time to clear things, get organized, and to allow yourself to be in a state of compassion, because that is what this is about. You can use these tips in so many different ways, but that last tip of being in a state of compassion, you can apply that right now to your life and see how you navigate your day when you are rooted in compassion. All right. I will see you all on Thursday for a new video, and a new podcast episode also will go live on Thursday. So be sure to stay tuned. Other than that, I'll see you later.